I've seen this girl.
Oh my God, what's her name? What's her name?
Why'd you say yes to me?
I'm just gonna have to wait to find out.
All right, I got time.
You're cute, I like you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Listen, you want to know the truth? You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
You like movies?
I don't watch too many movies. The pretty woman, the pretty man, and they drive off into the sunset. Everyone knows it's fake.
I love movies like that, you know?
Great. But they watch it like it's real life.
Baby,
What are you doing?
I was just reading emails.
No, you weren't.
She caught me watching porn.
That's it?
Right? Oh!
How do you watch that?
How do you watch all the stupid movies that you watch?
Movies and porno are different, John. They give awards for movies.
They give awards for porn, too.
Hi everybody, I'm Peter Travers and welcome to Popcorn, where we tell you what is happening at the movies. And this is a special edition of Popcorn because this was an interview I did with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Tony Danza, who star in a movie called Don John. And I did this interview at Sundance where they debuted the movie. It's quite a serious movie in the guise of a comedy because it's a guy who's addicted to internet porn, which is quite the subject. Tony Danza plays Joseph Gordon-Levitt's father in the movie. But the big news here is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who you know from movies like 500 Days of Summer, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Looper, the whole business, this is the first movie he has written and directed. So I had to ask the guy, I had to say, Joe, why would you choose to debut as a filmmaker with a movie that's about pornography?
I wanted to tell a love story. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed about love is what often is getting in the way is how people objectify each other. They put these expectations on each other that they've learned from, from various places, from their father, or from their friends, or from different media, which particularly fascinates me because I'm into movies and stuff like that. So I thought a story about a love story about a guy who watches too much porn and a girl who watches too many romantic Hollywood movies would make a really funny romantic comedy. It's about intimacy and actually having a connection between two human beings. And that, to me, that's why I thought the image of a guy watching pornography on a screen was so perfect, because there's no connection there. There's no connection between this guy and that woman on the screen. And I think, though, that's the case in a lot of relationships. People aren't on the same page with each other because they're not actually listening to each other or paying attention to who's really standing in front of them. Instead, I'm busy comparing her to this checklist, or she's busy comparing me to her checklist. And it's a problem. It's no way to live life. It's a recipe for unhappiness, I think. And I find it really hilarious. So.
Well, it is. People are laughing, but there's something under the laugh.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it a substantial movie as well as a hilarious one.
Thanks.
Something
I'm glad
else
you
is
said
happening under this.
Yeah, then those are my favorite kind of comedies. To me, the ones that make me laugh the hardest aren't just the silly, goofy ones. They're the ones that you're laughing because you know what it's like, or because you feel like for these characters. So, comedies like 500 Days of Summer or 50-50 or Annie Hall or The Graduate, or things. Those are my kind of favorite comedies.
It exposes human nature.
It does.
And it's a timeless story, though. It's this really old story. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, but it's the same story. It's just told in such a provocative manner and using a provocative device.
Scarlett's character is sort of like the other side of the coin of John. She's objectifying John just as badly as John is objectifying her, and she's learned what she knows about love and sex from Hollywood movies, just like John has learned what he knows about love and sex from pornography.
That Titanic poster in her room is
Thanks, Leo.
So when Don John opened at Sundance, and it was then called Don John's Addiction, there was a lot of controversy in Utah where the Sundance Film Festival is taking place, especially from a right-wing group called the Sutherland Institute, which said this movie was pornography. They didn't think it was about pornography. They thought it was pornography, and they thought the state of Utah should withdraw all its support to the Sundance Film Festival because of the filth of this movie. So I asked Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Tony Danza what they thought about this.
I think Don John's Addiction is a picture that a lot of fathers and parents might want their kids to see, so that they might reflect on what exactly is going on here, because, you know, being a father of daughters, I worry about these guys that are watching this from the time they're 13 and 12, and now you're going to marry my daughter. Wait, what kind of stuff is this? So I think it is something that we have to consider. I don't think it's certainly not, you know, bringing down the moral fiber of the country, if there is one left.
I would love to argue that I would say Don John's Addiction is actually quite a moral movie, and with quite a wholesome heart. It's also honest about, you know, the way that people think about love and sex these days, but it's not showing that in a gratuitous attempt to titillate an audience. It's doing so because I really would hope that people come away from this movie more ready to engage with unique human beings, and less prone to, like I'm talking about, comparing each other to these checklists and objectifying each other. You know, my favorite movies are the ones that do have something to say and are trying to put something positive out there, even if it's funny and even if it's a good time. To me, that's often the most effective way to tell a story.
I think comedy is the best way to do it.
Yeah, and
it's
I would
a genre
argue
that everybody's attracted to.
If you want to talk about, you know, an immoral movie, those are the movies who are just blindly reinforcing these cliches of, you know, love at first sight and the first kiss and an expensive wedding and you ride off into the sunset, because it's systematically ruining people's lives, you know, and it's a recipe for people's unhappiness. And these movies are made just because they make money and because they're following a formula. Mm-hmm. And if you want to talk about, you know, that to me is more morally questionable, if anything is.
You know, it's an interesting thing about the idea of Tony Danza being back with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because 20 years ago they made a movie called Angels in the Outfield. I mean, a lot of us forget that Joe started as a child actor. He was on TV in Third Rock from the Sun, and in Angels in the Outfield, he was the kid that saw the Angels come and help the California Angels win a baseball game, and Tony Danza was one of the players on that. And so I had to ask, does Joseph take after Tony Danza? Was he a mentor? Was he somebody he wanted to be like?
I think actually, I think I take after you in a lot of ways. You know,
that's nice to hear.
This is clearly a born performer, which is what I, you know, love to do. He's a song and dance man. He can tap dance, which I can't do yet.
We tried.
We both play the ukulele.
We both play the ukulele.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, I think Joseph is, you know, I know him since he's 12.
Yes, because I was having an out-of-body Angels in the Outfield experience.
Right, you gotta believe.
Looking at you.
You gotta believe.
You have to believe.
Yeah.
And that was it. So he was 12.
He was 12, and by the way, he was, you know, we've been saying this. He was interested in the craft. Even then, he was following Bill Deere around, the director, mm-hmm. And you know, he's you know, he's determined. I mean, look, this is something that he's been thinking about for a long time. And last night, as we were stuck in traffic, and he was using the metaphor of the traffic slowly getting to his screening. You know, this is something he's been thinking about for a long time. And last night he did it. And I tell you, I hate to say that, I mean, because I don't want to be just totally paternalistic, but I was proud of him. I was really proud for him and proud of him. Especially when I saw how it played. Thanks. I mean, that's my first time seeing it, Peter, last night. So I was.
So your friend, your son on screen, was only allowing you to see this last night.
Well, he finished it Monday, Peter.
Yeah. Oh well, that's an excuse.
And I was in New York, okay. And you know,
so it couldn't have happened anyways. Yeah. So when you're looking at it, and this is your movie, and you're looking at it a million times. What, when you're looking at it in terms of Tony, sticks in your head?
Oh, to me, every scene that Tony's in he's magnetic. What's funny about that though is, so Tony, to me, anytime you see his face on screen, it just makes you smile. He's a lovable guy. He's got this warmth and positivity that beams out of him. You can watch, because we've been walking around town all day. Watch. He walks by, people smile. There's something about him. But
they
the character,
smile and scream, Tony.
But you can't get over that introduction.
I love it. I don't hear that much.
Not much.
Yeah. But the character that I asked him to play in this movie, he's not such a great guy. Sort of abusive, sort of selfish, and
talk about self-involved. Yeah, sure.
That was my running note to him. Was like, No, I still love you.
Yeah, I still like you.
I don't want to love you
I
anymore.
still like you.
You got to be more mean.
Still like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still feel that he does love you.
Yeah.
But within that same problem that everybody is rating everything. There's scenes where
I
you
totally
bring
am rating him.
Scarlett Johansson
I'm
home.
totally rating him.
Yeah.
Totally, I have a
Everything is
checklist.
it.
My son's supposed to be this, and this. And he's this, but he's not that. And then Scarlett, when he brings home Scarlett, his stock goes up.
It does. How was it convincing her to do this? Because this is different than anything she's done as well.
It's such a different character for her, and she nails it.
She's great.
So you know, this show, Popcorn, always ends in song because I insist that it does. I take people who don't ever want to sing and force them to sing. That's just who I am. But when you got a guy like Tony Danza in the room and a guy like Joseph Gordon-Levitt who might be shy a little bit, Tony Danza is going to force the issue here to my great delight. So here they are, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Tony Danza taking us out with a little You Are My Sunshine.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. I'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Hearts are breaking all over Sundance right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.